Hey fellow travelers, Mark here with Wolters World, and we're in front of Jackson Square in New Orleans, Louisiana. A fantastic, fun place to go. But even the most best places in the world have things you're going to love and things you're going to hate. So what we have for you today are the 5 things you're going to love and hate about visiting New Orleans. Now the first thing you're not going to like about when you come here is, guys, we come here to party, you know, and for some reason, it's like a Disneyland for adults here when you go onto Bourbon Street and have fun, and that's why the first thing you're not going to like are the drunk tourists. Now there's lots of tourists that come here because it's a beautiful city, but the only ones that really bother you are the drunk ones out there. So just be prepared. If you're walking around the French Quarter in the afternoon or the evening, you're probably going to bump into some drunk tourists. So just kind of steer clear of them and you should be okay. Because Bourbon Street does bring out the binge drinker in all of us, so just be smart, know how to pace yourself, watch out for any kind of trouble with drunk people and things like that, okay? That's the first thing you're not going to like, is the drunk tourists. The second thing you're not going to like about New Orleans is the driving and the parking. Parking is insane expensive and very hard to come by, and then driving around New Orleans, getting to all the different districts, whether you want to go from the French Quarter to the City Park, or go to the Audubon Zoo or the Audubon Park, I mean, you got to drive around, and it gets very frustrating, and trying to find parking just adds to it. So what I recommend you do is take the streetcar. Take the streetcar to the Audubon Zoo and the Audubon Park. You know, use taxis, use those to your advantage, because driving will just give you a headache, okay? And if you're going to be drinking, you shouldn't be driving anyway, so use the public transport, the taxis and the streetcars especially, to really get out of that one hate of the driving and the parking. The third thing you're not going to like about when you come here is the prices for the hotels and the restaurants, because this is a very big tourist and kind of conference center city. There's tourist prices all year round. Hotels, we're at the Sheraton, and we got it for $230 a night, and I thought that was a deal. So if you're going to stay in the French Quarter, remember, or buy the French Quarter, remember you're going to pay a premium for the hotels, and of course with the restaurants, there's not really any deals anymore when you go out to eat. So just know that it's not going to be a cheap stop in the South. It will cost you a lot for the hotel and for the restaurants, all right? The fourth thing you're not going to like when you come here is if you come in the summer, the heat and the humidity can be oppressive. So if you do come from, you know, late May through early September, drink lots of water, not just alcohol, because that'll make you more dehydrated. So keep hydrated, go see the sights in the morning and in the late afternoon, early evening. Stay out of that midday sun, because it can get pretty intense, and it's not really good for young ones or older people as well, so just be smart with that. And the fifth thing you're not going to like about New Orleans is the crime. Now, it's not as bad as they make it sound. Like, no one's going to come up to you and shoot you in the head as you walk down Bourbon Street, okay? But you need to be smart about pickpockets, muggings, things like that, car break-ins. So make sure you park your car in a protected lot. Also, if you see a dark alley, don't go down it. Go with friends, stay on the main streets, you know, Bourbon and Royal, things like that. Don't wander around, because then, I mean, you're gonna get, if you go down those streets anywhere, you're gonna have problems, all right? So those are the 5 things you're not gonna like about New Orleans. But what are you gonna love? Because this city is fantastic. I mean, it is really an awesome city. And the first thing you're gonna love is the New Orleans culture, because it's got the Creole culture, the French culture. If you want voodoo museums, they have that. The architecture going around town, whether it's seeing the historic buildings in the Garden District, or here in the French Quarter, or, you know, you got Jackson Square here with St. Louis Cathedral. There's so much culture and just joie de vivre here. Like, the people love their city, they love their town, and they share that with you, and you just love the culture here. And with that, you have things like riding the streetcar around town, going to eat beignets at Café du Monde, all these great things. I mean, I'll talk about the food and the people later, but just the whole culture of New Orleans is something you're gonna love, because it's different than anywhere else in the US. The second thing you're gonna love about New Orleans is the parties and the festivals here. Yes, we all know about Mardi Gras on Bourbon Street with the beads and the beer and the boobs and all these kind of things, and Bourbon Street with the partying, but there's so many more festivals. We're here for the French Quarter Festival. Amazing music and food everywhere. They've got jazz festivals. There's so many festivals here. Try to get here when there is one going on, because you can really see how the city shines for tourists, because they have a great infrastructure for this. But it is a great party town, and I can't lie, I've been to Bourbon Street with girlfriends, wives, buddies, best friends, random strangers, and always had a great time. But you will love that festival atmosphere, that fun time you get when you do come here to New Orleans, because it really is a Disney for adults, and there's stuff for kids too. The third thing you're going to love about here is the food. Whether you're having your beignets at Café du Monde, or you're going to have po' boys, or jambalaya, or gumbo, I mean, the seafood here is fantastic. The cooking here is amazing. Anywhere you eat, you'll eat well. Don't worry, it is awesome. But make sure you go to the Louisiana kitchens and stuff like that to enjoy the food here. You don't need to go to Arby's or McDonald's, okay? Spend the money and go to the restaurants because the food here is amazing. And one of the best things I can say is when you come to New Orleans, you got to bring 2 sets of clothes. One, the clothes you wear before you come to New Orleans, and another set after, because you're going to eat so much and so well, you're going to go from, you know, skinny to this in no time. The fourth thing you're going to love about coming to New Orleans is there's a lot of outdoor and indoor activities that don't relate to drinking, okay? You have actually one of the best zoos in the entire country. The Audubon Zoo is fantastic. Right next to it's the Audubon Park, and right next to that is Tulane University. And it's just beautiful to walk around there, take a picnic, enjoy the time with your family, or just to get away from it all, to take in the sun and some nature. That's great. Or you head to City Park where they have the New Orleans Museum of Art, which is awesome. It's usually ranked like the #1 site to see in the city. But there's the Storyland Park where they like recreate fairy tales, and you've got a sculpture garden there. You have an amusement park with a really old carousel. I mean, it's fantastic. You go to the Garden District and you see the historic homes outside. You do a walk there. I mean, it is just amazing the stuff you can do outside. Also inside, the Aquarium of the Americas is one of the best aquariums in the US, and there's so much to do outside of, you know, hitting Bourbon Street and Mardi Gras kind of stuff. So make sure you check some of those things out. You know, you can go on a swamp tour, a plantation tour, a historic tour of the city. There's amazing things, ghost tours, all kinds of stuff. And the fifth thing you're gonna love about New Orleans are the people. Guys, New Orleans people are fantastic. Now, the drunk tourists you bump into, they're not that great. With the actual people from here, they'll give you travel advice. They'll tell you where to eat, where to shop. It's always, oh, my cousin works here, talk to him and say that Stacy said hi and they'll help you out. You know, you gotta get around and get to know the locals when you're here because they really are fantastic. And honestly, if you're not sure where to eat, where to go, what to see, ask somebody. In your hometown, if you know somebody that's from New Orleans, ask them. They will send you a 3-page list of just their favorite hidden places, not even the main places out there, all right? Now, guys, that's the 5 things you're gonna love and hate about New Orleans. There's other things you might not like, and there's gonna be other things you're gonna love because this is a fantastic city. If you wanna learn more about visiting New Orleans, top 10 sites, other things in the US and the Southeast or Europe or China, wherever, check us out on our website at woltersworld.com. We're also on Twitter and Facebook, and we appreciate all your likes and subscriptions. And bye from Jackson Square in beautiful, sunny, awesome New Orleans, Louisiana.